Hello and welcome to the BIG Festoon 2026. We are here, YVT on the road at the AO Arena. Can you believe it? Danny had a dream when she started the BIG Festoon, and from a room of 15 people has grown it to an arena. I am so excited because this time we are coming with intention and we have got real stories to find out who these people are, what they do, and they're going to get loud because closed mouths don't get fed. Let's go get loud with YVT on the road. Hello and welcome to YVT on the road here at the BIG Festoon AO Arena 2026. I am joined by the incredible Emma Lars from Informed Leadership Standards. Emma, welcome to the studio.
Oh, thank you.
I'm excited to talk about this. So Informed Leadership Standards, you've built 8 pillars through 3 different sort of tracks that we're going. Tell us more about where this has come from.
Okay, so over the last 8 years within my business, I've been working with a variety of different leaders in different sectors, and what I've found is there is a very similar pattern. And as much as leaders don't want to cause harm, there is a level of being uninformed that is basically causing harm to people. So for example, it might be we're role modelling things in a certain way, but yet that encourages, it might be a red flag to burnout, but we've not noticed that as a leader in terms of how we're leading, for example. That would be an example. Okay. Or it could be that we're talking about our story and we're not really very trauma aware in terms of our language.
Right.
And then we're triggering in other people because we've not thought about actually how that story will land,
affect the group.
For example. Or it could be that we have a level, or we've done some mental health awareness, but we've not necessarily we've not really integrated that into our practice. It's a bit like, when that happens, I'll just signpost them elsewhere, which is a great step to do.
Yeah.
But it's actually then, you can't just automatically go, we've got an employee assistance programme, so we'll just shove them that way and, hope for the best.
Yeah.
A lot of my work in the last 8 years has been in that phase before that, where I've worked with organisations on strategies and things, but in that gap before where people experience a lot of stress, and there's very, very common patterns in those kind of stress phases, and I've been helping them for the last 8 years on how to navigate that.
So when it comes to this side of things, is it a case of someone saying, this is where we're struggling, we want that pillar, or is it, no, you come in, you learn all the 8 pillars and we support you on everything, because you might not realise how this has affected that and vice versa.
Okay, so there are a lot of leaders that have done a lot of learning over the last, number of years. I think we've become a lot more trauma aware, we've become a lot more EDI aware, a lot more, we're on the journey with AI ethics, for example. So we've been doing that kind of over the last 5 years or so since COVID raised awareness of it. And sorry, we just repeat that question.
When it comes to the pillars, is it a case of picking one pillar that they want to learn, or is it a case of, no, you get the blanket because you don't know how this pillar over here affects that pillar and vice versa?
Yeah. So when it comes to choosing what pillar to work on, so there's 8 informed leadership layers. What people do is they come in and they do what we call a readiness assessment.
Right.
So the readiness assessment means that it will kind of evaluate where their gaps are, because what we don't want to do, leaders are busy people, we don't want them to have to relearn what they've learned.
Right.
So we find these gaps and we do that through, so all my head has been put, one part of it is through AI learning. So part of my head has been put into a learning element, and then they learn the gaps. So let's say they know all of those 8 leadership layers already, but it doesn't mean to say it's integrated into practice.
So it's very different reading it on paper to actually then doing it.
Yeah, so how do we transfer it from like the knowledge we're taught on a course to actually integrating it into practice and making that real transition into like role modelling it as a leader. So we have the integration element, which is through case studies, which is through reflective practice, which is through like our lead eruption roundtable discussions, and then and AI support as well. So it makes it very, very personalised. And then the last part is the evidence part. So that is it actually. So people might already be doing some of this stuff, and that's fine, because as long as they can demonstrate it in the evidence, they can meet the standard. But whatever gaps they've got or whatever point they're at, it's a personal journey to meet that standard.
And with the different levels of leadership, are they going to have to look at this every time they level up in leadership, or is this sort of more changing roles? How is that evolving within them?
Okay, so when somebody changes their job role, for example, or let's say they have a sudden growth in influence on social media or in terms of the number of followers, for example, what we do is we help them to become more aware of their power and their influence.
Right.
Because power and influence is highly connected to how we lead in terms of our leadership authority. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll have to relearn everything again, but it will mean they will need to examine it from a different lens. And what is very different about informed leadership standards is that you are really supported to look at it from more than one angle. It's very much about embedding it into how you lead, and standing out as a leader that is more informed, so therefore is more aware of their responsibility and their influence. And then when we've got that and we build relationships and we lead in a certain way and we're confident in our leadership authority rather than having to be authoritative, it often means that, we really build trust within the teams or communities or movements that we work within.
Incredible. And what are you seeing results-wise when someone has come through that and have truly integrated it and taken it on board?
Okay, so we're very new currently. So we've literally launched this month. So what we've seen so far is just really the feedback, the discussions. I'd not thought about it from that angle. I wasn't aware that I was leading in that way. I wasn't aware that perhaps the conversations that I'd had were, had the potential to cause harm. I haven't been confident in how to handle that situation, so perhaps I've been silent about it. Because silence is also something that we explore within it. So silence has both positives and negatives. It helps us to regulate, and that's actually one of the leadership layers is self-leadership and nervous system regulation. So silence can help us to regulate, to pause, to know that we're regulated before we have a conversation. But more and more in the online world that we live in, and even as like leaders in a traditional sense or in a traditional business, we often communicate through email. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a bit difficult, that conversation to have, so we'll just send an email.
I'll write it.
Or that's happened on social media, that's a bit difficult, I'll just block them. Rather than actually let's pick up that conversation and let's move that conversation to a place of potential repair. And that's very much when we're leading with responsibility, that's where the angle that we come at is we always want to come to a place of potential repair. Now that might mean that it's not the right time to repair it right now, but it might be actually I'm coming at it from this angle. I've only thought about it from my lens, but it's really thinking about one of the lead eruption sessions that we had. Someone talked about before you drop that pebble, think about what ripples it's going to create. And I think often in our fast-paced world, we don't think about those sorts of things. So it's just a very, very, like, we're trying to create this safer space for leaders to not feel so alone is a big thing as well, and to just be able to talk through things confidently. And as part of that, they also can reach out on advisory calls, which are one-to-one, so let's say something happens where they think this is big, it's high stakes, how do I handle this situation? And with some of the packages that we've got, it includes these almost SOS advisory calls. It's like, can I take my call, as part of like their yearly package?
And this is huge, right? Because from a business perspective, from a team member who is watching leaders go through this, to me that would build trust. Because
Totally.
ultimately I'm seeing them develop and now walk the actual walk and talk the talk, rather than tell me one thing and then go and do something completely different. So this must be creating a much better working environment in those corporates, but also in those smaller businesses where they're going, okay, well, you're not burning the candle at both ends, you're not doing this, you're actually telling us and showcasing in the way you want us to move forward.
Yeah. Often some of the things that I see that leaders have some of the knowledge in certain areas, but they don't integrate it into their leadership practice. And therefore, if they don't integrate it into their leadership practice, they then find it really difficult to role model like what that is, because they kind of don't, they're not because they don't have that level of awareness, they just don't know how to do it, if that makes sense. And, you know, they'll,
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm really excited to see it grow and evolve and things as well. So ultimately, if you're in business, you are looking to level up your leadership, get that full understanding that's going to really develop the leadership across the board, then this is what you need in your business. So contact Emma. We're going to grab the links and all the ways you can contact the team, stick it in the show notes and description below. Emma, thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you and lovely to understand this, and I can't wait to see what it develops and evolves into for you.
Thank you so much.
The Big Festoon is at the AO Arena.
What an absolute step up. This is incredible.
I'm feeling energised. Ask me that in 2 days' time.
We just had our rehearsals on stage. It was sick.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Danny?
Tonight is the VIP drinks reception. We're going to be having some great conversations, but honestly, I can't believe we're here. I am so excited for the next 2 days.
We're going to hold your heart. We're going to make hope in your eyes, and you're going to have the most fantastic time.
I can't even put it in words how excited I am.
It's going to be fun, it's going to be high energy, it's going to be really informative, you're going to learn some incredible things.
How far we've come since we were in Bolton Stadium only last year.
Can't even describe being on stage in front of that amount of people.
I am taking so much away from this incredible event.
What's been so amazing so far is the energy of everyone here. They love being here, they want to connect with people, and of course, the amazing Danny Wallace.
We've just upgraded, haven't we? We've upgraded.
Day 1 is done, but guess what's to come? Bedlam Bingo!
Big Festoon Bingo, how are we doing tonight? It wasn't me, all the 6s, all the 3s, number 33! Dinosaur! Do you know what? I've been Festoon, I can't even question it.
Love you, Rory!
Big Festoon is different to any other event, let alone business event. The heart is people with heart wanting to show up as themselves, wanting each other to show up as themselves, all running businesses, running projects, leading teams, and we want to bring our best selves to that.
Such a lovely feeling to always come back here year after year.
I like to
emotions released.
Lots and lots of love in the room, and I feel really motivated and inspired to just go and share the love even more.
Phase 1. We're coming back in March next year. I will see you then.